What is going on, guys? It's Studio Designs here with another tutorial using Cinema 4D. We're going to learn how to create a room. So let's get started, and we'll start off with creating a cube. So selecting a cube, we're going to adjust the dimensions and the width and height of the room. So the x-axis would be the width of the room, so how wide your room is going to be. So I'm going to give 600 centimeters for the x, and for the y it would be how wide your room is going to be in height, so keep that to 200. And the z-axis is how spacious your room is going to be. I'm going to keep that to 500, and this is how your room will look. So we're going to have the entrance in one of the sides, so this would be the entrance here, and the other side would be the windows where the light would hit and get into the room from the outside. So now what we're going to do is make this cube editable. To do that, we're going to just select the cube, and you either click on this icon right here, or you could press the C. So I'm going to just click this icon, and it's editable. So I'm going to make a copy of this cube and just rename this as a dummy there. I'm just going to hold on the Alt button and just click twice to make that invisible. So you can just see we have just one cube. I'm going to undo that, and now to delete one of or hide one of the portions, I'm going to select the polygon selection, and you can select any of the sides. I'm going to select this side, and I'm going to hide this. So not to delete it, I'm going to right click, I'm going to select split, so it's split it from the original cube, and you just press the delete key as it's already selected, and the below layer is the new splitted layer. So we're going to rename that, which is going to be our entrance. So you just type entrance, and I'm going to hide this so we have a view to the end of the room, and there we have our room. So that's the most easiest way, and to render it to look like that, since there are no lightings yet, that's the best way to create a room. So that's what I've done using a cube. And to make a more complicated rooms, you could use the different type of options, but this is the best and easiest way. So selecting the cube, we're going to create some windows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to room, and I'm going to save this document room. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the polygon selection tool, and I'm going to create windows on the other side of the room. So I'm going to select that, selecting knife tool. I'm going to just chop on. So I'm going to switch on to my front view here, so it's easier to view. So you can just see what's happening in the perspective view. I'm going to keep that open too. I'm going to zoom in our front view here, and I'm going to make in a cut on one side here. So just click and drag. So we're going to make like 4 windows. I'm going to click and drag one. I'm going to make another 2, and let's make it properly on the grids here. So 3. It automatically snaps as long as you're close to it. So let's make another one, and the last one. So we're gonna have 4 windows in this room, so it's just for an easy understanding. So that's how our room is going to be, and you can see the lines there, which is cut. And now we're going to add another angle. So we don't really want our windows to be really wide, so I'm going to make another cut here on the top and on the bottom, so that we have our windows right in the center. You can see that there's going to be 1 2 3 4 windows. So that's the windows here, and we're going to keep the other sides left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to my perspective view here. I'm going to keep my selection tool selected, select my polygon tool. I'm going to select my windows. So the best way to do is keep it your front view selected. You could select your windows, and you could just see that it's selected properly. I'm going to split this, and I'm just going to delete. So you can see our windows are here and our rooms there. It's easily to be visible in our front view. I'm going to rename this to windows and give that a room. So now in my windows, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to zoom in here a bit. Let's switch back to my perspective view. I'm going to select my windows. I'm going to select all 4 of them, and I'm going to click and extrude inner to just make a frame for these windows. I'm going to extrude inner by moving it to the left side. You could just see, zoom in here, you could see I'm just extruding inner, and you could see that it's extruding the whole thing as completely one piece. So I'm going to uncheck preserve groups. Now you see that it extrudes each individually, which makes it a better frame for the windows. So once I'm done that, I'm going to extrude this to around 2 centimeters. Let's enter that here. I think 1.5 is fine. So let's go to extrude, and to make a gap in our windows, a really depth of space here. So I'm going to just click and drag towards the right to see that you can extrude in and out. So I'm going to just make this, zoom in here, I just extrude a slight space here so you could see. I'm just gonna put this, I think, at 1 centimeter, maybe fine. Let's just adjust our camera here, zoom in, just render this and look how it looks. You could see that a small lines are there having the frames of the windows. So once we change our material, we could just do this all again. I'm going to extrude this, I think around 2 centimeters fine, and let's extrude this to, I think, 2 centimeters. 1.5 is really slight. Let's make that 2. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna maybe, no, that's fine. I guess that's perfect. Okay, let's render this and check. Okay, you see perfect frames we have here. So now what I'm going to do is just zoom back and view it from here. I'm going to create some materials for these windows and floor and walls of our room. So I'm just going to create a material, switch back to my selection tool and just double click, create a material. So I'm going to call this walls. I'm going to create another one, call this floor, and another one I'm going to call these windows. So once that's done, I'm going to open up my windows. I'm going to on luminance, leave it to 100, and that's it. Just close that. So make sure you have your windows selected. I'm going to just split this from the frames of my windows, so I don't have the luminance added to my frames. So I'm just going to zoom back a bit, and I think we have 3 windows here. We just missed out one, so I'm just going to switch back to my front view, and I think we missed out one. So I'm going to select my windows. Make sure you have your windows and polygon selection selected. Select that, and I'm just going to zoom in here. I'm going to add the same things. Since we just added, everything would be already set. You're just supposed to press enter, and I think you just enter that to 2 centimeters. We did extrude to 2 centimeters. Just click hit enter. It's done. Okay, now once it's done, I'm going to split this from my frames. So I'm going to select my polygon selection tool. Make sure you have a selection tool selected. Select all 4 of my windows. So I'm going to select, make sure you have windows selected. Select the windows and select them, right click, split, and just delete. So you have them. Oops, I think I deleted the whole windows. Okay, just do that again. So I'm going to select each of my windows, select the layer. Okay, once it's done, okay, it's done. Now what I'm going to do is you can see that we have our windows and our frame here. I'm going to rename that. You can see that with our windows and the frames are there up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the material to the windows. So I'm going to switch back to my selection, switch back. Okay, I'm going to just add the luminance to my windows. You could see that luminance is nice and bright. So the windows are really in the mid-afternoon or something. So into that, it looks perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another material, call it window frame. I'm going to change remove luminance on this. I'm going to make it somewhat a darker blue, somewhere around here. It's perfect. Okay, I'm going to add this to the frames. Make sure you just drag and drop it here, and let's render that. Seems a bit light, I think, because the speculars on. Just turn off specular, and now let's check this out. Okay, it's perfect. We have our windows and the frames all set. Now what we're going to do is let's add our walls. I'm going to adjust the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download textures. So make sure you download texture. I'm going to just open a Google, and I already have a texture downloaded, so I'm just going to save this. It's a wooden texture. You can just type in wooden texture on Google Images and just download any one you like. So I'm just going to select that as my texture, and you see it wraps around the sphere here. So just going to save that and just adjust our walls. So let's try in a color, maybe a whitish color, and let's zoom in here a bit to see how it adds. I'm just going to add, so I'm going to separate my room's walls from the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the floor, right click, split, and just delete. So make sure you have your room and your wall selected. So I'm just going to rename. You can see that this is my floor, and let's zoom back here and just show you how it looks. Oh, that's my floor. See that there's the floor. Okay, and that's the room. So I'm going to add the materials to it now. So selecting the floor, I'm just going to drag and drop the texture. So you could see that we have a floor select nicely with wooden. I'm going to just change the length U and V, so we have a wider floor. Size up the wood there. Okay, now I'm going to add, that's perfect. Our walls are really wide, so just going to add our room. To drag and drop that. You can see that's our room. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add the material to it, and let's render that. You can see the left on top is kind of dark because there's no light inside the room, so I think maybe change the color of the room, or see that that's the room. So I think we'll just first of all add a light source from the outside, and let's change the color of the room. I think make it maybe a dark gray or something like that, or maybe a dark brown or something. I really don't know if that color room exists. Anyway, I'm just going to add light source. Maybe that would change the way it looks. So I'm going to add an infinite light, and you can see the white line is a source where the light's hitting towards. So I'm just going to adjust that line to hit towards the windows of my room. So let's just adjust this here, and let's rotate this straight towards the windows. So it depends on how the light source hits your windows, is how the reflection is going to come inside. So something like that. Take it down a bit and adjust this. Okay, let's zoom and render this and see how it looks. And render. I think I'm gonna add a camera so it sits here and I don't lose its position. Okay, that's how the light looks. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add that's the windows. Okay, I'm gonna add a compositing tag to my windows. So let's select right click and select compositing tags. I'm going to turn off the first two ticks here so that doesn't make shadows. And now what I'm going to do is on my cam and render that. Okay, so we need to adjust our light source, so I'm going to just select my light and select area for the shadow, and you could just see just by changing that you get nice cool reflections. Just change that to area, and you have to have an infinite light. You see the cool reflections come out from that light source out there, and you could see the light hitting right on the wall and taking its shape. So let's just adjust that light out there. So I'm going to just move it slightly towards, just turn the direction here, and let's render that and see how it looks. Perfect. Our lights are perfectly inside the room. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change our room color. It's kind of too dark. Maybe a dark blue or something would be perfect. Maybe a dark gray, I think. Let's try and I think dark gray would be perfect. Okay, so let's render that and see. It's still dark since we don't have a light source inside our room, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to just add a light in our room, and I think a spotlight would be too direct. Maybe let's change that. Oops, and let's change that to an omni light, I guess. Yep, that's too direct. I'm going to change that to an omni light. Okay, that distributed light in all directions. You can drag it right in between the room. Perfect. I'm going to reduce this intensity, it's really too bright, so let's make that half. And let's render this now. Yeah, you can see all the rooms and the lights are perfectly seen, visible. Okay, now what we're going to do is let's add, maybe I'm going to create a bulb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my spline, and let's create a bulb. So it's really interesting here to create a bulb on the roof of your on the roof of your room. So I'm going to just zoom in my front perspective view. I'm just going to create a rough kind of a bulb. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try to create a bulb. So just click at 1 point, 2 point, and then make it a curve, and another point, and make another curve. Is that a bulb? Okay, let's try to adjust that. You can just select your points here and make sure you have selection tool selected. Select the points. You can just adjust that, maybe like that. I think if this bulb was turned, zoom in more. I guess like that. Maybe let's try this. Okay, I think we should really add some, maybe move this a bit here. Okay, I guess that's kind of a bulb. Maybe if I rotate that, looks perfect. Let's try that. Let's rotate that. It looks like a spaceship. Anyway, let's use that as a bulb. Okay, make sure this is a spline, so I'm gonna add a lathe knobs and I'm gonna add this spline to it. Whoa, that's a huge bulb. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just whoops, I'm gonna select all these points here and just adjust that, that, and it's so huge. I'm just gonna move all these right in center so that it reduces. Whoops, make sure you have all your points selected. So I'm gonna just select all the points. Missed few. I'm just gonna zoom in here and select all the points that we created, and that's one point there. Okay, just select that, and I'm just gonna push this, zoom back here and push this right in the center of my room. I'm gonna push it, make sure you can see your top view, and just let's zoom in here, zoom. Okay, let's adjust that. I think let's turn this around. I'm going to turn 180-degree, kind of something like that. Okay, it looks kind of a bulb. Let's check this out. Let's zoom in here. Whoa, this is really cool bulb. Great. Okay, it kind of looks like a bulb. An opposite bulb. Okay, fine. Let's adjust that right there. Now what we need to do is add a light source. First of all, let's add a material. This really looks like a bulb. Okay, I'm gonna add a material to this light source here. Okay, so let's adjust my camera right here, and I'm going to create a material, call it light bulb. Alright, I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to add a transparency to this bulb. So I'm just going to make this complete white, transparent, make this 2, make that around 50, I'll make that 70%. Okay, now I'm going to add, no need to add luminance, gets too white. I'm just going to drag and drop this to my bulb. Looks kind of fun. Let's check this how it looks. Let me rename that and render. It looks kind of a glassy bulb. Let's see how it looks from far. It looks perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add a light source, so a bulb's not really switched off. So I'm going to add maybe a simple bulb light, and let's adjust that light towards the bulb. I'm going to drag this right up. It looks like the bulb's light's going straight upwards. Okay, let's rotate that maybe. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to adjust that maybe away from the bulb, or let's change this to area. And nope, area is not good. Nope, it doesn't look like anything's happened. I'm going to change that back to, I'm going to add some shadow. I'm going to increase the intensity. Oh, that's too bright. I'm going to reduce that. Let's render and check this out. That's really too bright. Okay, I really need to reduce that intensity, and it doesn't really look there's a light coming from a bulb. I'm going to reduce that intensity, and I'm going to change this to none. Yeah, that's kind of a perfect light. It's really just an idea. If you would add a bulb if you'd like. So you even learned how to create a model of a bulb, so that's just a basic one. I'm just going to add maybe another light. Let's try here. I'm going to adjust this somewhere. I think we have an option where you could add the angle of the light. It's not here, neither here. Let's check, maybe I find it. Nope. Let's put that to 20. Like it does nothing. Okay, I'm gonna add this to a hard shadow. Nah, that's not really working. At a soft shadow, and I think it's right here. Let's zoom back a bit and just check this out. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's a light rays in a particular shape. So let's render that and just, no, that's too much. Yeah, that's perfect. That's really like a bulb light. Okay, we have a small shadow of my bulb here right in the center, if you could see that. I'm just gonna adjust my render settings here, just make this really wide, 120, 720. Gonna add global illumination, make that low and low. Now let's render and check this out. Actually, like I said, yeah, you could see that small dot right there in the center. So you can see that dot there right in between. That's the bulb shadow. I think we took the light right above our bulb, so I think I'm gonna click on the light, just move this away from those window lights, and just my camera here, right, and render this. Yep, it's still there. You could see that right in between my bulb's light there's a small shadow of the light of the bulb. I'm gonna just select my light and just take it below my bulb there, and now let's render. And yep, it's gone. Okay, our light was right above the bulb, so it looked weird. Okay, that's cool. So let's rename that. You can even keep that. Now that's just basically an idea, so I'm gonna just turn that off for now. So here's our room with a perfect window lights, and you could even create any model, like maybe create a table or something like that. I'm gonna add a gradient for my room here. Let's try maybe a diagonal 2D. We'll change the color to double click that, select a bluish type color. I'm going to change the white to darker blue, and let's see how that looks. Let's render that. You see there's a lot of specular on my room walls, so I'm gonna just turn off specular. So let's open my material of my room again, and let's actually first change our color of my light here. I'm gonna select the light and I'm gonna change it to some kind of a warm color, like it's really in a sunny day. You can adjust the color of the light. Let's render this and check it out. Yeah, you can see the lights are really in a brownish color. And like I said, I'm gonna turn off that specular. Now it looks a really solid plain wall blue color. That's perfect. So that's basically it, and I hope you learned something from this. It's really interesting. I'd love if you like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, so make sure you do that. And there are a lot of more videos coming through, so make sure you do that. And could add a video response or maybe send me a link of your work, so I'd really see what you guys have worked with. So I hope you enjoyed the video again, and thank you for watching. Later guys.